Welcome to Stories Behind the Objects, where we take a close-up look at the history behind Museum of the Rockies artifacts in 5 minutes or less. We're heading way back into deep history today to learn more about the discovery and significance of the Lindsay Mammoth. The modern part of our story begins in July of 1966 outside of Lindsay, Montana, when a farmer named Joe Walker was moving a combine down the road. He noticed something white-colored and interesting-looking in a ditch, and upon taking a closer look, Joe thought it might be some kind of fossil. Luckily, instead of moving it, he reported the find to a county commissioner. The county commissioner, in turn, contacted Montana State University and reported the find to anthropologist George W. Arthur and paleontologist-geologist Dr. William McManus. When the MSU faculty came up to take a look, they determined that Joe Walker had, in fact, found part of a mammoth tusk. The tusk had been uncovered and dislodged from its original resting place by a flash flood. The men also noticed that there were fragments of agate nearby, which led them to theorize that perhaps the mammoth had been killed and butchered by early hunters. But by this time, it was too late in the year to do further excavation work, but MSU planned to come back the following year. And a team did return in 1967 to see what else they could find. Over a 30-day period in July and August, a team of 6 students, led by Leslie B. Davis, returned to the site. What you're seeing here are videos and photographs taken by Davis of the dig site. The team recovered approximately 47 skeletal parts, plus soil samples, stone fragments, and soil columns. In the end, the recovered remains represented a nearly complete mammoth specimen, now called the Lindsay Mammoth after the area in which it was discovered. Throughout the time that the dig occurred, thousands of Montanans stopped by to check out the action, with estimates of up to 5,000 spectators stopping by over the course of the month. The mammoth remains and other related materials were all brought to the Museum of the Rockies, where they've been curated in the history collection ever since. Research conducted at the time showed that the mammoth was a bull around 45 years old at the time of his death. The mammoth stood approximately 14 feet tall to the top of his skull and could have weighed around 12,000 pounds. His right tusk alone is 9 feet long and weighs 150 pounds. This is one of the mammoth's femurs, with your friendly neighborhood 5-foot 3-inch tall registrar for scale. You may be wondering why the mammoth is in the history collection, and here's where our deep history begins. Radiocarbon dating when the mammoth was uncovered estimated that he died approximately 10,700 to 12,000 years before present. Later study of the mammoth bones by visiting researcher Dr. Catherine Krasinski uncovered straight cut marks on the rib and calcaneus bones, possibly made by lances when killing or scavenging and butchering the animal. Additionally, the mammoth's upper shoulder bones had been smashed, a way for the early hunters to possibly extract the bone marrow. The arrangement of the bones when excavated may also point to scavenging and butchering by first peoples. And here's where things get pretty cool. In more recent history, the museum sent out a sample of the mammoth for advanced radiocarbon dating in 2013. The newer technology showed that the mammoth had died at least 12,300 years before present. At that time, this discovery helped to establish an even earlier timeline than previously thought for when the first people were inhabiting the area now known as Montana. While other sites have since moved the timeline for human habitation back even further, the Lindsay Mammoth remains an important stop on the timeline of history. Indigenous cultures have inhabited the area now called Montana for millennia, and the discovery and study of objects like the Lindsay Mammoth can help to provide physical evidence for Indigenous continuity, lifeways, and cultures.